Welcome to VegasHackware. I haven't done this in a while, so please bear with me. Um, Technically, this is my second style podcast, but I don't do this often. I try to do it as much as I can. So when it comes to the tech field, I'm really burned out. But there's something that came up, so I really want to bring this, just trying to bring it out to people's attentions that on the other podcast kind of thing and that communities and whatnot, they're not as savvy as I am with stuff like this. There might be some people that are, but there's a lot of people that are not. So it's just it is what it is, and yeah, that's why I'm calling it end of an era. Number 7 episodes. Still trying to work on it. So currently, let's start with number 1. Go ahead and highlight 1, book 1. Yeah, on VegasHackware.com. My book is definitely released. It's currently for free this weekend with Amazon, so if you really want a copy, you can. But yeah, I'm currently doing one of those free publishing things. So that's the whole thing there. I'm still writing book 2. I give a preview on that. Here's the yeah, it's a preview. Basically, I'm calling it The Conqueror of the Dark Side of the Internet. It's like a working title, but it is what it is. So I've been putting things together. Basically a second intro, cool stuff like that. A lot of these topics and whatnot is already on the website itself that I've covered, but I'm doing a lot more in depth of retelling it. And then I was going to do a whole covering of how I built that ISP from the ground when I first started. So that's the whole point of this. Let's see. Was it this one? No. Alright, let's see whole exploits there. But what I was trying to get at was, let's see, I think it started, here it is. Oh, that's weird. Because I called it something else. I guess it didn't save. That's really weird because that didn't save. Okay, well, fine then. I will bring up the other one that I wrote. Let's see. Or I think it's right here. Because I rewrote that part, and basically I just watched freaking Ballerina, which was not like a spin-off from John Wick. So I was thinking the whole thing was when I first started the whole ISP thing back in 2000, when I first doing the whole hacker war thing, I was basically reshaping myself from being like a bad person to a good person, you know? So technically I was exploiting, doing all those bad things, but once I took over the ISP, I became the opposite from that, where I was starting to take down the people that were like I was at the time, and I was trying to retell the whole story about that. So I'm doing a lot of retelling of that story in part 2 of my book. That's what I'm writing here. That's why I'm saying writing book number 2. So I've been doing a lot of like after work, instead of leaving exactly at 5, I think like between 5:30 to 6 o'clock I'll leave because traffic is insane at that time. And so either way, if I left at 6 instead of 5, I still get home at the same time, even if I left at 5. So that's how bad it is. So basically, I'm retelling a lot of the stories. I'm did a whole like a detective work of the whole information of everything that all my abusers and everything else and their backstories that I could find. It's all basically been put into this, and the whole ISP and how I reshaped them. Yeah, especially when I started working for them, I had to reshape them a lot. So because a lot of that stuff was vulnerable stuff, and I turned vulnerable into like better security than they had. So it was like a really cool thing. So that's a lot of cool things that I've been doing with the book. So I just didn't want to make it all about this whole episode about that. And so, but I'm probably gonna try to think of better new topics and whatnot when I come up to this. All right, so let's go with number 3. Topic number 3. 6 minutes in. This is about the forums of Sylvia. If you don't know what Sylvia is, the heck going on here? Ah. All right, so I'm gonna bring this over here. Sylvia is basically a Z slash Nissan S Sylvia slash Fair Lady Z forums. Basically, it's the whole ride thing. So let me read this out real quick. Sylvia.net has been permanently closed in December 2025, basically to this week, because of an unauthorized party has obtained and forum account data and published it online. That sucks. It really does. But that means they got data breached. They've somebody's taken their info and downloaded everything, everybody's usernames and passwords. They've been up since what? I think 98. Let's see. Yeah, I think they've been up since like 98 right here. Sylvia started in 1998 and remained one of the online for more than 20 years. Grassroots communities and whatnot. Let's see, back in 2010-ish, there's this program that you would get on your phone called Tapatalk. I think it's called Tapatalk. Let's see. Android app Tapatalk? Yeah, that's what it was. Forums used to have been a really, really big thing. But there's been, I think, within the past 10 years, a massive increase of bots and botnets and whatnot. Because, let's see, Sylvia.net was one of the popular kind of forums that they were using. And let's go. I love archives, so we can go to Sylvia.net. Let's look up, let's see, the last, oh wow, it's been a while. So let's go to July 2025. They've been running the same stuff here. The bulletin, I think it's been around forever. I remember back in the day, that was like the hottest thing ever. Who knows what they had before then? But vBulletin was actually a paid-for software. So, but the thing is, this is like public forums in the past 10 years has been a major hot topic for attacks. You got attackers always trying to dump databases. They're always trying to dump information as much as they can. They scrape the sites for all the information as possible. This is like an example of a bot right here. They scrape the whole site and they were able to get all this information here. This is the archive.org. This is the Wayback Machine. This is the thing. If you want to see the history of an old website, you go here. So we take this and basically the top ones that are mostly exploited a lot is vBulletin, SMF, and PHP BB, which is another bulletin board system. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong here already. Let's go with SQL injection can happen because this relies heavily on PHP slash MySQL SQL. And or why did I just say that? MySQL. I guess I'm not tired, so please bear with me on that. So, digging through this, the common exploits, pretty much. If I was doing this back in the old days, I would probably try to use SQL injection to grab or throw myself as an admin of the board to dump all the information. So basically, you can use SQL injection to actually either download things or control special queries, change things around. You can actually elevate yourself to becoming an admin of the board without them even noticing. You can do the same thing with, there's another vulnerability called cross scripting, or XSS, or cross-site scripting. There we go. That's what I was trying to remember. And basically, I can throw some random code right here in this form right here on their website, and I would be able to dump whatever command I could throw in. That's what cross-site is, pretty much like that. Well, it's more complicated than that, but it begins with a form. A lot of times, you can actually manipulate the stuff in the back end when you log in, and do some stuff with burp suit and stuff like that. You can use different attacks, especially if they have like bugs on third-party applications. Like it looks like they have VB sponsors as like a extra plugin. Who knows what other plugins they were using in the back end. But this is how they attack. But this isn't the only one. You do have spam bots who go in and hit register and just sign up fake accounts and spam the site too. So that's a major problem. That's always been a major problem for the past over 10-15 years now. And this is like how it's always going to be. The only way you can get around any of that, and you want to keep your software, you have to keep it up to date all the time. You have to basically restrict on who gets registered. You have to keep an eye on everything. You have to make sure you're always looking at the logs and making sure no one's trying to do anything bad. I'm pretty sure they were not behind any type of cloud service, like Cloudflare or anything. Because of that, that's like an extra layer of security for you already, because technically they block a lot of those bots already, which is actually really good. Basically, it's like a web firewall is a thing. I know it's kind of a cloud-based thing, but still a better layer of security for stuff like this. Pretty much anybody who's using stuff like that. Let's go with, let's say, one of my favorite ones. They most likely will never come back online with their stuff because it's been bad. That's that. That's like, yeah, they let their stuff basically, oh, dang it. They let their stuff lapse for a long time now, so yeah. Okay, let me go back to the archive real quick. Oh, come on. But yeah, this is like one of many. I mean, forums itself is going on a downhill for the longest time because there's always exploits, there's always 0 days. People love taking advantage of stuff like this because user data is rich. Basically, username, passwords, email addresses, because a lot of people like to. Oh, anyways, it's hard. It's hard to deal with that sometimes because that thing breaks a lot. So a lot of problems is that web applications, because that's what that is. Let's go. Like I believe Club S12 used Simple Machines Forum, which they were basically not protected against cross-site scripting. But yeah, a lot of times it's pretty bad. I've actually used PHP I tried to use that on togenorthwest.com, and it just kept on getting hammered with spam. It kept on getting hijacking sessions. It kept on getting SQL injected, stuff like that. Stuff you just can't really block because it's just the way the system is set up. It's been around for so long that a lot of these people don't clean up their code. It's such a mess, and it's very hard to get set up in the first place. And they do have a lot of stuff in the back end, but it's a giant mess. A lot of things is hiding things behind the cloud kind of thing, places like that. It does actually help keeping things up to date all the time. Try not to use legacy server software like old school PHP. Look for forums that are actually built on a different platform and system and has a better routine of security updates. There's a lot out there that actually do that now. I think NodeBB actually does that, but let's see. Even if you have to do containers work too. Docker containers, those work. But yeah, stuff like this is not going away. Stuff like this is basically just an eye opener showing what's been actually happening in the back end to a lot of automotive stuff that I've noticed. A lot of community driven automotive stuff. I know that another one, pretty sure Nico Club, even though they've been around for so long, they run forums. And it doesn't tell me here, but let's say, oops, let's just view source. You know, when you view source, you're not hacking a website, so don't think that. You're just looking at what the web browser sees and decodes for you. But if I scroll all the way down, this makes it easy for anyone to see. They use PHP and they use a copyrighted 2014. That's probably not good because it's an old plugin. Don't know if they still use it or not. I'm pretty sure, I hope that they keep this up to date as much as they can. They look like they do. I mean, this is pretty much a day-to-day job, pretty much. Just always monitoring the forums and making sure it stays up to date. I'm not going to sit here and try to exploit them because, you know, it's not what I do. Unless they pay me to do it, then I try to do something like that. But I'm pretty sure they don't look like they're behind any type of cloud either. They might be. It might be what's helping them a little bit better. But this is like, yeah, stuff like this is what's pretty much going away. I mean, I used to have been a part of a lot of forums. different car forums all the time that had good data and stuff like that. And they're just disappearing because it's hard to keep up with this stuff all the time. C34. The Newsy. Oh yeah, it's the they're finally bringing this in. That's cool. A lot of more people are starting to get into that, but too bad the car is too dang expensive. Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, forums has always been a good place for information and stuff like that. Always been a huge data mine for a lot of good stuff. It's just sad that stuff goes down like that. I mean, let's see. Vegas Drift used to have one. They're gone. A lot of people end up, I think, within the past 10 years, I've noticed that people end up migrating their forums and stuff like that onto Facebook, which is stupid. It's the worst place to go. It really is. It may have sounded good about 10 years ago, but really, if you're in the groups, a lot of stuff gets buried. It gets hard to find. You can't really do a lot of searches, especially when they're doing a lot of weird stuff in the back end, especially with their AI stuff, which is dumb. And a lot of stuff is actually, after so long, it actually gets purged out of the system, especially since they've been doing a lot of data purging and weird freaking recycling and stuff like that. So yeah, groups has never been the thing to replace forums, and it's sad that people actually rely on groups now. And I just want to delete Facebook altogether, but I can't because some people rely on that. Like, I want to know more about Vegas Drift. I can't do nothing about it because Vegas Drift relies on the groups now and Instagram and stuff like that, just to share anything. But yeah, it takes a full-time job because there's a lot of exploits. And exploiting is like gaining unauthorized access to the system to dump either the database, spam, or just take over an account, stuff like that. But yeah, so that's that. Pretty much, that's like, yeah, that's it, pretty much. This is technically a sign of an end of an era is actually here. It's been here for about 10 years, and just someone's actually saying something about it. That's it. I mean, this place kind of sucks to begin with, but there was actually other cool places that were cool. They had forums and they kept up the date on them for a while. Then all of a sudden they started migrating to Facebook, and then forums disappeared. Like, let's see here, sun.net. I'm pretty sure they're still a forum, and that they are. Envision. It's actually pretty cool that they upgraded. I think that one actually has a good system in the background on that one, so they might actually be. I think they finally changed it. They used to have been something different, but that's actually pretty cool. I mean, that's what it takes. Stuff like that, you know, you just look for a better system. You try to upgrade to that system. It's about as much as I can say. I mean, this is actually a better community way. It's easier to actually, you know, give good data. That's it. That's what I call. Plus, you know, you don't. This is how communities come together. They show their own builds and their car stuffs, and you know, everyone lives to hear like somebody else's story because you can actually post that here. Yeah, but And that's why people have like members rides up here. But everything's dead for now because they said they're going to put it in read only, but it is what it is. Basically, it's the end of an era for the forums. And Sylvia.net is really showing the light of what's happening, what's been happening. Sooner or later, they probably already are a Facebook group. Who knows? I can probably always look. So, with that being said, moving on to my next, which is future. I'm not sure. I have no idea on how or what kind of content I'm going to start really producing from here. Maybe I can start bringing more of my second part of the book into this. But I definitely want to bring out more stuff like topics like Sylvia. I mean, I can always maybe my next one I can set up I can set up something local on from a virtual machine side, and I can run some exploits and show some demonstrations on how that works. I mean, that could be something if anybody really wants to see something like that on there. Make it happen. I thought about doing CTFs, but I'm just too burned out to really focus on those, or I would. But yeah, that's it. So, and now for that, end of file, which means that's it. I'm done today. It's the end of my talk show for the night. And that's 26 minutes in. Hopefully, I explained enough on the forums. If anybody wants a demonstration, I'll be more than happy to set up a virtual machine just for all that stuff and exploits. And we'll use Slackware when I do it, because I don't use Kali Linux, I use Slackware. Kali's for the newbies. Slackware is my OS that I've been using for over 20 years, so. And I can do everything you can do inside Kali, inside Slackware, no problem at all. Actually, I do more. So. But that's me. Anyways, have a good night. I'll have this posted shortly, and hopefully I can spread more of the word of this is the end of an era, but there's still hope. There is still hope. Because there is solutions to keep things moving and going and migrating to better things. All right, so have a good night. Thanks for hanging out, and bye.